This is ACC Nation, your source for ACC sports coverage. Connect with us at accnation.net. Listen to our podcast and streaming radio. Watch us on YouTube and follow us on your favorite social media outlet. Now, here's Will and Jim.
Welcome to ACC Nation, week 3 of football, and we'll have week 4 picks at the end of the program, so stick around for that. We'll start out with something that was not really unexpected, I guess. Virginia Tech fired Brent Pry, their head football coach, on Sunday, which is when we were recording. What I found interesting about it, Will, was the fact that the president of Virginia Tech is the one who announced it. And the wording, if you're, I'm not a conspiracy theorist by any stretch of the imagination, but the way it was worded and the hands of, who it was placed, the responsibility of replacing this person, it's like, And I know that you mentioned this in our DMs. Feels like there's more coming.
There is. Like you said, with the way the announcement came out, I think Whit Babcock is also on his way out. Obviously, they're going to let it breathe a little bit. And as you mentioned, the search, it's going to be a committee. I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing. I guess TBD on that.
If you want to know who's on the committee and how it's structured and the background of these individuals, go to our website, accnation.net. The story is there. It has the names of the 2 individuals off the Board of Visitors who have been tasked by the rector to do the search. Whit Babcock is part of this from a consulting standpoint, but he is not leading it. And it just feels to me, again, that Occam's razor thing, it just sort of comes into play here. It just all feels like, boy, we're going in a certain direction. And, here it comes. So prepare yourself. There will be changes a-coming.
Lots of them.
Yeah. All right, let's get into some football here. Before I go any further with this, I always say, when people get fired, leave it alone after that. They do have feelings. They do have family, and their family gets displaced. Not misplaced, I hope. But there are a few that I think would like to misplace them. But let's think about them for a minute before we make comments that we're going to regret, and just move on. We'll find the next thing, right? And we'll go from there, because this is all in the past now. It's already happened. It's done. It's gone. We can beat a dead horse forever, just like you beat Justin Fuente to death. It's not worth it.
I thought you were going to say beat a dead horse like the Lions beat the Bears today.
Oh, man. I knew that was going to be at some point today. But that was a can of whoop ass that Detroit opened up on the Bears.
Yeah, but no, seriously, let me just say this before we get into the games, Jim. Pry's going to get back on his feet. He's probably going to land a defensive coordinator job somewhere.
Because he's good at that.
But he obviously did a good job of it at Penn State. That's why he ended up with the Virginia Tech job to begin with. But he's not making that kind of money ever again, because I don't think he's ever going to be a head coach again. But if he makes a nice career again as a defensive coordinator, cool. But it's probably his one and only shot to be a head coach, and it didn't work out. And that's you have to look at that from the personal side. Like, they worked their whole career to this point and it didn't work out. And like I said, they get all this money, but from the human side, they just, they were at the top and now they're just getting knocked back a peg, basically.
Yeah. There's a thing that's called the Peter Principle, and if you've never read the book, you should go out and find it. I doubt that it's in print any longer, but you probably can find it in your local library. What? Library? Go read? But go look it up. Read the book. You'll start looking around at people that you work with a lot differently after you read this book, too. But it applies very readily to what Will just said. I mean, there comes a point at which we all, rise or maybe surpass where we should be, and it happens. Sometimes you're smart enough to go, that job sounds tempting as hell to me to take, but I just don't really think I'm the guy.
Mhm.
And I've done that a few times in my life,
Mhm.
and I tell you, it screws with your ego a little bit, but also then you look at it after the fact and you go, oh my God, that would have been a train wreck if I'd have taken that job. So
Take a look. It's in a book, a reading rainbow. Okay, well,
we know what
before we get
generation
off the
you were
rails
raised
any
in.
further,
Yes. All right, let's start with Thursday's game. It was NC State with a win over Wake Forest. Nice in-state rivalry going on there, 34-24. Uh, it did not start out in a good place at all. And I I just was so surprised by the end of this game. I mean, I don't even know what to think.
we got off the rails there a moment ago. This game was off the
Oh,
rails.
wow. Yes.
Uh, Chris Barnes housed the opening kickoff 98 yards.
Nice run back too, man.
He looks like a nice little find for the Deeks. He's got a lot of potential personally.
Yep.
Later in the first quarter, we had a large man pick six by defensive lineman Isaiah Shirley of NC State. We can't forget that at one point NC State was driving down, and all of a sudden you see all the smoke in their end zone, and there was a food truck right outside the stadium that had a big grease fire. That game was lit.
It was smoking, man.
Okay.
Oh Lord, I kept thinking, what the hell is going on before I realized what was going on.
Yeah, for some reason I thought they were like fireworks that Wake set off. They just
Yeah,
didn't. They just didn't
didn't
clear.
clear. Yeah,
Oh, and
food
then
trucks
one
on
of the
fire.
last passes of this game hit the umpire in the groin,
Oh
like it's
yeah,
Hans Moleman. Uh,
ice, brother, ice.
yep.
And you
I don't know.
can't.
He's probably old enough. He doesn't need him anymore.
Yeah,
But
oh, come on now. You could.
I'm kidding. That's too far.
I would
I'm sorry
say
about that.
you take some ibuprofen and elevate, but that
Yeah.
didn't work either. So anyway, let's go on to the
Anyways,
next game.
CJ Bailey
Oh
had three
God,
touchdown passes. He looked like
yeah,
the quarterback we thought he'd be. He's been awesome so far
yeah,
for the Wolfpack this season. Hollywood Smothers 164 yards on the
another
ground. This
gem.
is again, you say, Jim, you've seen a lot from him, and he really broke out in this game. For the Wake side, Robbie Ashford played well in the first half, but like the entire Wake Forest team in the second half, not as much.
Just
They had 267 yards in the first half, just 44 in the second half.
they just went flat.
Yep.
Yeah, and this is, I think this is, you know, Dickert being that first year coach and having a new squad around him, new players, the whole, I mean, it's just all of that together. Sometimes it just doesn't click enough. You can't make the adjustments that you'd like to as quickly as you need to. NC State, different story. I give Dave Doran a lot of credit. Man can look at a game and say, this is where we're screwing up. This is where we need to make the adjustments. And typically, he'll find a way to do that. Typically, not always,
hmm
typically.
And
So, you know,
no, what I was going to say is just like we said in week one with the Wake job, this is going to be a multi-year rebuild.
yeah,
They're not in a situation where they can rebuild overnight, like Louisville, for example. This is going to take a couple of years, so you got
yeah.
to be patient.
But I will say, and adding on to the being patient, Wake Forest does look good. there's just these bright spots, and you just know that this team is going to be something special. Now, whether it's as long as 3 years, might be next year, could be the end of this year. Don't know.
Hmm.
See.
Just got to put it together for 4 quarters.
Yep, that's the key. On Friday, our buddy Bond, uh, his daughter goes to Colgate, and he was talking about, yeah, Syracuse taking on Colgate. I'm not going to say what you said. Anyway, the thought here, the ending score 66-24. I was thinking that maybe Bond's daughter was playing for Colgate.
Well, hey, Colgate has given Syracuse some trouble in basketball. That's what I said.
Oh
But
yeah, yeah,
I mean, I'm not. I mean, Syracuse basketball put up 66 points on Colgate, but that would. I mean, football did too here. I mean, you're learning not absolutely nothing out of this game.
exactly.
Syracuse took care of business. Stephen Jelly had 5 touchdown passes. Syracuse had 620 yards of offense, like you're supposed to do against an inferior opponent.
Right. So we're really going to know in week 4, which is coming up, and we'll talk about that. We'll find out just who Syracuse really is. On Saturday, here are the games, and man, was it a mishmash of just insanity. If you were watching one or more of these games, you might have been losing your mind. And this is not the only conference in which this craziness occurred. This insanity was happening across college football. I mean, there were games going on that were just lit. That's the fun of college sports, man. This first game, Georgia Tech and Clemson, the final 24-21. And if you thought for a second that the winner was Clemson, you'd be wrong. Georgia Tech took this game in literally the last few seconds of the game by kicking a field goal, and they sent a burr through Tigers.
Ah, I see what you did there.
Couldn't help myself. Anyway,
Come for the analysis, stay for the bad puns. You're going to
cha-ching.
get them from both of us.
That's right.
Now, correct me if I'm wrong, Jim, but did we not both take Georgia Tech?
Uh-huh.
See, we know football, folks.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah,
we tell ourselves that. We know what we're talking about.
maybe.
What was
But
the key to this game, man?
the key to this game was really it was the inability of Clemson to stop Haynes King.
Yeah.
211 yards passing, 101 yards rushing. Georgia Tech had 358 total yards in this game. King had 312 on his own through the passing and rushing. As you mentioned, Aiden Burr 55-yard field goal at the final gun to win it for the Yellow Jackets and earned themselves a $50,000 fine for storming the field. But Georgia Tech's administration just worth it. Straight cash, homie.
That's right.
But here's the concern. Clemson, they only had 381 yards of offense.
Ugh.
Right now, through 3 games, they are 15th out of 17 teams in the ACC in yards per game. They have yet to eclipse 400 yards in a game. This was actually their season high, 381. And Georgia Tech's defense is not great. They can be a little, they can be especially in the secondary, but the problem is they can't run the football. Like they're inconsistent. Like they'll get short 1-2 yard runs or negative runs, and then they'll have a 30-yard run. But there's no consistent, 5 yards, at a time thing with them. They're a little bit too big play dependent in the run game. And it's biting them, quite frankly. That was part of the reason they were able to come back so swiftly against Troy last week is the big plays in the run game, but that is something that's not sustainable. We're all talking about Garrett Riley as this offensive genius, but I feel like he's about the Wile E. Coyote level genius offensively.
And better send off to Acme for some. Never
The
mind.
umbrella
Yeah.
as the anvil dropped on his head.
As a result of this game, because Georgia Tech was not ranked, they were in the receiving votes category of both polls. Clemson was highly ranked. Clemson got dinged big time. They fell completely out of the poll, both polls, actually. And Georgia Tech is at 18 in the AP, 19 in the coaches poll. You're talking about huge jump there, but they knocked off a top ranked team, and that's what happens. But that's what you get when you play. You know, lesser teams leading up to something like that. Georgia Tech, I said the last couple of weeks, this is a team that's going to be ranked. Watch, just watch. And but they hadn't proven it yet. So they proved it with Clemson, and therein lies a problem because you see, if Georgia Tech had been ranked going into this game, where I think they should have been ranked, and they had defeated Clemson, Clemson would not have fallen out of the top 25, and they would have both been in there. You were getting ready to say.
Yeah. You know what Clemson dropping out does, right? That LSU win is devalued because they're no longer in the rankings. But at the same time, Georgia Tech's now ranked.
Yep.
So that loss is better. We forgot for it.
Interesting stuff. Hey, here's I again not sure exactly what to make of this team, but it's a hell of a lot more encouraging than what we have seen over the last couple of years, and could be the thing that prevents Tony Elliott from going the route of Brent Pry. 55-16, the final, Virginia over William and Mary's Tribe.
Yeah, this was a record-setting performance by the Hoos. School record, 700 yards. Um, Another record that was tied. Harrison Whaley tied a school record for the longest touchdown run. He had a 97-yard run
Yeah,
on
nice.
Virginia's first play of the third quarter.
Hmm.
They ran for 379 yards and touchdowns on the ground. Whaley had 179 and three. Noah Vaughn, 8 carries, 101 yards. Again, it's Coastal Carolina, now William and Mary, NC State.
Hmm.
We're still a couple of weeks away from them playing a big time opponent to see where this team really is. We'll get into next week's opponent later, but I I'm cautiously optimistic about Virginia. Let's just say that.
Yeah, they're showing promise, and again, there's all these bright spots. They really, really are looking a lot better than I would have ever imagined. And I think surprising a lot of people, and it's exciting if you're a Who's fan, that's for sure, to see the football program. But we'll see how quickly everybody turns on them the minute they lose a game, especially in a
Aside from
big
the
way.
NC State game, I
Well,
mean, I'm talking if
that was a
but
pretty
if
good
they
game.
lose a game and look bad in doing so,
Yeah,
then yeah.
yeah, yeah. Next game, North Carolina over Richmond. Not a surprise here, but North Carolina starting to gel. I'm starting to see some things here that are coming together. And Papa Bill might be getting things, sticky down there in Tar Heel country. He might have something going on here. 41-6, the final score there. Again, it was Richmond though. So, and not I live in Richmond. God, they're going to be coming for me. Pitchforks, stay away. Um,
They're going to come with the
Richmond,
mascot, Jim.
it's just spiders. Um, yeah, I mean, until you actually play somebody that I feel like is a competitor and actually do something solid.
So let's look at it this way.
Mm.
Remember last week how I said, "Oh, UNC had X amount of yards on what was it, the first drive or the first on two drives, and then like had this much the rest of the game."
Hmm.
This week, on their first two drives, they had 120 total yards. The other eight drives, 198. Folks, they are the worst offense in the ACC. Do not look at the fact that they won 41-6 and thought they handled Richmond. They had a lot of short fields because of Richmond turnovers, like turnover on downs, interceptions. Um, I still don't think too highly of North Carolina right now. Again, the best sample size we have is the TCU game. Not
Which was
great,
not
but
good. Yeah.
yeah. We'll say Devon June, 148 yards rushing and a touchdown. That was nice for them. They've been looking for a big play guy in the offense, and somebody finally broke out for them.
So our next game up, the backyard brawl. This is what this is all about. And my God, they ought to be playing this game every damn year. It's ridiculous that they don't. These two teams, they have a passion for bashing. And when they are both on the field, uh, it was a frustrating game in a lot of ways because you were seeing a lot of the bad of both of these teams come out. West Virginia pulled off the final in overtime, 31-24. I know that was a frustrating loss for the folks, the Panthers, but certainly I think it put a light on a lot of things that Pitt's not doing right. It could do a lot better, and West Virginia exposed that. Of course, Pitt also exposed West Virginia in a lot of, but we don't talk about Big 12 people. So,
Wasn't the atmosphere awesome though? As a
yeah,
game aside,
yeah.
it was
And it
awesome.
was a lot more respectful this year than it had
Yeah.
at the back.
I think West Virginia fans were tempering expectations because they had like 80 something new players. But look at it this way, folks. Pitt gave up 434 yards to a team playing three quarterbacks on purpose.
Yeah, on purpose. You heard that right.
But but there's also two other differences in this game. Pitt ran the ball 34 times for a grand total of 46 yards. And they also committed 14 penalties.
Yeah, that killed them.
Yeah,
Really did.
Eli Holstein like had 300 yards in this game, but he was also sacked six times. So a lot of a lot of holes to be sealed for the Panthers if they can be. Not very encouraging. I know it's a rivalry game and weird things always happen in rivalry games. But the third game of the season at the same time, that's cause for concern because the level of competition they've played up to this point has not been very formidable. And
No.
they finally played a Power Four team and lost due to a lot of things of their own doing.
I will point to Eli Holstein, and then there's a lot of other people I could point to as well. But Eli, I would just tell you, brother, that uh, everybody recognizes that you're a very talented individual. You have a hell of a lot more potential than I think you're showing on the field. There were some things there where I could tell you lost your cool. You've been playing long enough to know better. You need some throwing the ball away and other crap that you did. That should never have happened. You need to get back in your own head, play your game, and just be, Joe Cucumber out there. Just be cool, okay? Because I think it's going to make a big difference in your game. Because if people are coming at you and you're not going up in your pocket, and you had some great pockets and you avoided them, but you also did some other stupid stuff with the ball. You got to think, okay? I want to see you progress. Next game up, SMU, Missouri State. Um, boy, SMU is not last year's SMU by any stretch here. Even though they won this game 28-10, Missouri State was giving them everything but the kitchen sink and their grandma. Don't know.
Yeah. So Missouri State led this game 10-0 at the end of the first quarter, and then SMU outscored them 28-0. I'm going to give them the defense credit for this game. They forced three turnovers, held Missouri State to 53 yards on the ground. Missouri State was 0 of 11 on third down, and they also sacked the quarterback 5 times. Yeah, good. I mean, it was not the best offensive effort from SMU. Like I say, they were very sleepy out of the gate, but then when they woke up, they handled the game. But it's always tough to play a G5 team on the road. And this was, I guess I'm not surprised they were slow out of the gate, but then kind of woke up and realized who they were.
Yeah. You got to start playing, like you did when you recovered all the time. Because if you plan on being in the top tier of any conference, whether it's this one or any other, that's what you need to do. You need to play like somebody's got a fire on your rear end at all times. Rain really goofed up this game, but I tell you what, it was very clear to me from the start that Miami was they were just so much better. The fact that USF has knocked off two top 25 teams prior to this says a lot about the ranking system. I'm not saying USF is not a bad team. They're not. They played a fairly decent game, but the fact that Miami ran over them 49-12, and probably could have put a lot more points up on the board too, and just did not. That tells me everything I need to know about not USF, tells me a lot about Miami, but tells me an awful lot about Florida and what was it, Boise State? Should never been a top 25.
Yeah, there was so much excitement for this game. We had Mike Yam on the show last week to preview this game. We were all excited. The game got going, and then there was an hour and 42-minute lightning delay.
Yeah.
And
Well,
it
Florida.
just really it kind of crushed the whole vibe of the game. I'm not gonna lie. I remember USF had the ball and they were in a spot to try to make this competitive again, and then the lightning delay hit, and then I just felt like everything was off because of it.
Yeah.
But I'm not surprised how this game ended up. Honestly, this is something we talked about. Like Miami at 576 total yards, Carson Beck 340 yards, 3 touchdowns, Mark Fletcher, 120 yards on the ground, 2 TDs. And they held Byron Brown to 100 or just a 2 yards rushing on 13 carries. And suffice to say, the clock here, the clock struck midnight.
Oh, I missed.
Dang. Yeah, well, it wasn't a very good. I was trying to hit one of the sounds on my phone, an alarm sound, but it didn't work. So
Didn't work. Okay.
fail on my part.
Give me a mulligan.
Yeah.
Mulligan on the SFX for Will. Aisle 2
Boo.
cleanup. B. Yeah. As we talked with Mike, we were talking about the depth. The difference there is the depth and experience. And Mike pointed out, well, there is experience on USF. And I'm going, yeah, but you're talking about somebody who came back from last year, whereas Miami's got like 3 deep. It's like, okay, I just went down, plug and play. Next guy just went down, plug and play, and you're not losing any quality. I mean, that's the point they're at now. So, and it's taken years to get there. I will say it. Even before the current coach that is there now, who has done a pretty decent job of recruiting. He still doesn't know how to manage time, though. God, what the hell, dude? I'm going to send him an Apple Watch or something. Um, help him out a little bit. But yeah, they built that program up, and I I'll go ahead and say it. Use back. Yeah, I think so. Anyway, let's go on to the next game. This is the whole reason why Brent Pry got fired. Well, it's not the whole reason, but it played a damn big point in it because I guarantee you, people were lighting up phones and every. I mean, oh my God, this was a horrible game to watch. It was painful as hell, and you could tell that the guys on the field were just like, "We're not here. We're checked out. We're at home playing and getting our asses handed to us." Oh my God, how embarrassing. Old Dominion 45, Virginia Tech 26. I don't ever want to see another game like that in my entire life. I really don't. I it's you may be checked out on a team. If that's the case, tell your coach, sit your butt down, don't dress. But you're there to play. And there should be some self-pride involved in this. Man, I didn't see a whole lot of that in this game.
You want to know why Virginia Tech's going to be hiring a coach in 3 months? Look no further than this game. What was the final score, Jim?
45 to 26.
Wasn't even that close.
It really wasn't.
Old Dominion was up 28-0 at halftime and 38-7 at the end of the third quarter.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, and I think the line closed at something like Virginia Tech -5.5. Yeah, I think it cashed. Old Dominion had 526 total yards. Just that was that was the your opponent has quit the match game. Yeah, and the interim coach Philip Montgomery is ironically, I believe he was the coach for the opposing coach for Frank Beamer's last game.
Interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Let's move on past that because God Almighty, everybody ought to be moving past that and hoping for the best.
Yeah. Yeah. If you really want to know, like, want to hear a lot more on it, obviously, Jim put up something on ACCNation.net. And I posted a TikTok at the ACC Nation Net TikTok account. And follow there. You can you hear me talking about the ACC there.
Mm. Yeah, you'll be hearing me on there before long. There are some opinions that I probably can't express here, but they will be on TikTok.
Exactly.
Okay. And then here's another game that absolutely is infuriating fans. And I can tell you, because I actually talked about flying down, because my father-in-law is down. I had flown down and stayed with him and taken a short jog into Tulane and watched this game. I think it would have been fun. I would have taken him along with me, and we had a boys' night out. Thought about doing that. I'm glad I did not. The fact that Tulane won this game 34-27, and it really wasn't that close. Duke, what happened, man? What happened?
Yeah. So
Ooh,
last week,
nasty.
Duke's defense was not the reason that they gave up 40-something points to Illinois. It was it was 5 turnovers. This week, the defense is the reason they lost. They allowed Tulane to go for 426 yards, and their quarterback, Jake Ratliff, who not long ago was dismissed from UNLV for whatever, and now he's scoring 4 touchdowns.
Poor stuff.
Yeah, it's crazy. And then Darian Mintz had 313 yards, 3 touchdowns in the loss. He looked good, but again, the defense did them no favors.
No excuses. No excuses. Here's another no excuse game. Boston College losing to Stanford 30-20. Well, congratulations, Stanford. Really. I
Yeah.
mean, you, it seems like every time you venture into the Northeast, you always surprise somebody up there. You're just moving through the list, aren't you? I know
hmm
how it is. There's something
Yep.
strategic going on here.
The college football imperialism map, they just took over Boston.
That's right. We've got
So yeah, I felt like this game completely changed in the second quarter when Stanford had a pick six. And I think it gave him the lead at the time. But even though BC went down and kicked a field goal and tied it at halftime, it just felt like Clemson, or not Clemson, but BC was just they just didn't have it in the second half.
wasn't there.
Micah Ford, 157 yards rushing, a 75-yard touchdown, and the loss, Dylan Lonigan, 333 yards and a touchdown. He's been awesome, but BC still can't run the football. 2.4 yards per carry in this game. They're last in the ACC in yards per carry, 132nd nationally out of 136 teams. So I feel like there's a game plan now for beating BC. Let them try to run the ball, just stop the pass.
Yep. Wow. Well, again, congratulations, Stanford. They're not totally the dogs. Not
Yeah,
not not down there in the
we were
cellar all by themselves.
yeah, we were questioning whether or not they were going to win a game, and they ended up winning one here.
There we go. Um, this next team is rapidly becoming my favorite. Uh, I love this quarterback. This guy is something. If you're not watching, here's what you can do. You can go to accnation.net. I have posted highlights specifically of Cal's quarterback under the football segment, and you can take a look at like about 3 minutes worth of video and see some of the stuff that he's doing. He is quite impressive. I mean, there's a lot of impressive quarterbacks in the ACC. Make no doubt about that. And Lonergan was one of the guys you just talked about. Bailey, and we can go on down the line here. Um, but 27-14, the final score. Cal, and they kind of pulled the rabbit out of the hat on this game. To be honest with you, um, they took advantage of mistakes on the part of Minnesota.
Yeah, Jaron Kiawe Sakabolitele. He finished with 279 yards passing through three touchdowns. I like to say, to be fair, Minnesota was out its best offensive player, Darius Taylor, the running back, and I feel like that did have something to do with the offense last night. But still, credit to Cal. That's a nice win. Getting a Power Four team on their turf and winning that game. Um, but they still can't run the ball. They average 2.5 yards per carry in this game, and this is another situation, just like good BC. There's a formula now to beat them. If you can stop the pass, and make them run, you have a chance.
And just very quickly, I'm going to run down the USA Today coaches poll and the AP top 25. Top five teams in the coaches poll: Ohio State, Penn State, Georgia, LSU, Oregon. At number 6 is Miami. At number 9 is FSU, up 3 points. At number 19 is Georgia Tech. At number 15, in the receiving votes category, Clemson falls all the way down to number 29. Louisville is at 31. SMU at 35, NC State at 40, and Cal at 45. They received a singular votes. Way to go, Homer. AP top 25. It's Ohio State, Penn State, LSU, Miami at number 4. They're up number 1. And Georgia at number 5. FSU up 3 notches to number 7. Georgia Tech at number 18, receiving votes, it's number 33. Louisville 36, Clemson 37, SMU, and 38, NC State. I tend to believe that the AP might be a little more accurate this time around.
A little bit. Still working on it.
Yeah, still some problems.
The I think there's still consternation over Notre Dame being ranked because even though they're 0-2.
Yeah. I um yeah, that's a huge question on social media right now. Why?
Hmm.
And you know, I'm not going to explain this. You folks, you can come up with your own answer on this. Let's get
Yeah,
into
it's not
this
worth
coming
it.
up. week week 4 picks. Let's go. All the games are on Saturday. Thank God. Syracuse at Clemson. This is going to be an interesting game. This is where we find out what each team is for sure. Syracuse at Clemson. Who are you picking?
I'm still going with Clemson, and the reason being, this is a game that, well, it's the trenches where Syracuse's offensive line versus Clemson's defensive line is a mismatch.
It
I don't see Syracuse being able to stop this defensive line. I could see Steve Angeli having pressure all day.
Yep.
And even though I don't trust Clemson's offense, I don't think they're going to need to do a whole lot in this game. I'll take Clemson.
Clemson here as well. SMU at TCU.
Ooh, this is a good one.
Yeah.
This is a good one. I obviously we all remember TCU from what they did to UNC opening night, but I mean,
But are they the
I
same team after 3 weeks?
mhm. I'm still gonna go TCU in this game. I don't feel super confident in it. It's just because I feel like after blowing the Baylor game and kind of looking sleepy against Missouri State, that just I hesitate with them right now, and
Right.
I need to see it from them.
I'm wholeheartedly in the same boat with you. I don't think SMU has proven anything that they're just not last year's team. In fact, I'm a little worried about them overall. In this game, I think they're going to find out that they're not all that in a bag of chips. If you guys surprise us, fantastic. I'll buy you a sandwich and a bag of chips. Just one of you. Can't get the whole group. Bowling Green at Louisville. Look out.
Yeah, Louisville again. I'm just not going to worry too much about Bowling Green in this one. I think they're going to win pretty handily just because of the running game.
Yeah. Let's get a damn game in here that we can actually figure out what Louisville's all about. Almost had it with JMU. Wofford at Virginia Tech. Oh my God. In normal times,
So here's the caveat, folks. We're recording this Sunday night. We don't know who's still going to be on the roster by the time the game starts on Saturday because of the coaching change, these players are eligible to enter the transfer portal on Monday. So we right now have absolutely no clue who is going to still be on this roster because they're only 3 games into the season. And technically, if they have a red shirt, you're still available. They can use it.
yep.
So in picking this is impossible, but I'm just gonna say Tech because I feel like they're gonna get right. But am I confident in it? Not terribly.
I'm gonna go with the Hokies just because
And also Wofford's 0-3, so
yeah. Okay. All right, let's move on. North Carolina at UCF.
ooh.
Mm-hmm.
It's at UCF. I'm gonna
Yeah.
take them just because again, need to see some offense out of Carolina, and I have not seen it yet. So give me UCF.
I'm gonna go with the Tar Heels because I think that there's, like I said, I'm seeing some things coming together here, and I think that
And,
from week to week, it's just going to continue to get better. I think
mhm.
this is where the rubber meets the road.
I'm
What do
also
you
going to predict because this game is in Florida that there's going to be a lightning delay at some point,
think?
especially with a 3:30 Eastern kickoff.
Oh yeah, for sure. Kent State at Florida State. Really? Come on. Why are we still booking these sort of games?
But I mean, hey, at least they're playing a G5 opponent. I mean, Kent State is no good. I mean, they barely beat Merrimack in their first game of the season. Lost 62 to 14 to Texas Tech, and then lost by 3 to Buffalo at home.
Hmm.
Um, the only question to me in this game is how long is Thomas Castellanos going to be in this game?
Uh, quarter and a half.
That's pretty sound. I would go with that.
Okay, Florida State there. This next game intrigues me. This really is going to tell us an awful lot about both teams. NC State at Duke.
This is just kind of looking, this is this probably, I know there is another game of consequence, but this is probably the game of the week for me, because I I'm starting to like Stay a little more than I thought I would. Um, and I'm still not sure what to make of Duke. They've been a little bit inconsistent defensively the last couple of weeks. I think I'm going to take State on the road to go 4-0.
Yeah,
Not confident in it, but I think it can happen.
I'm going with the pack on this too. I think that um, Bailey and Smothers, man, I that is a combo that I absolutely love, and it's fun to watch. And I just don't think Duke has an answer on defense for those two guys.
I hear you.
Temple at Georgia Tech.
Let's see. Temple played somebody. They played Oklahoma just last week. Lost 42 to 3. Yeah, Georgia Tech wins handily. I honestly could see them getting out of the gate a little slow and almost like a letdown effect from the
Mhm.
Clemson game, but they're still going to win.
Yeah, I understand what you're saying about the letdown effect, but I'm going to say that the key here, that head coach, that
Yeah,
that man, he has a passion for football, a passion for Georgia Tech. He is a passionate
and
dude.
and
Uh,
that's why I think Georgia Tech is having so much success is because and I think that's why players love playing for him is he's just so
yeah.
passionate about the school.
God, I love that. I'd love him as a coach. I just you can't help but like the guy,
Absolutely. I mean,
you know.
they don't
So
get the talent. They don't have like a huge talent pool. I mean, they're not the most talented team in the conference. They're probably towards the middle of the pack talent wise, but in terms of just coach, he's towards the top. Like it's just a perfect mesh of person, school, and school.
I say Georgia Tech absolutely destroys Temple, and I think it is a message because as you point out, this has the potential of being a letdown game. If it is a letdown game, if you're not winning by more than 44 to 3, you are sending the wrong message. If you're winning by more than 44 to 3, you're sending a very clear message. So I think Georgia
Mhm.
Tech sends a very, very clear message in this game.
Yeah, I think it's important to get out early so Haynes can get some rest.
Yeah. Yeah. Hardest working man in football.
Hmm.
I've got a lot of respect for him too. Florida at Miami. Let me just say, just straight up, I hope Miami beats the living snot out of Florida. Thank you.
And the luster for this game is not what it was coming into
No,
like
I
the
know.
preseason. This was an awesome game,
Yeah.
but I just don't see it. See the luster is kind of worn off in this because Florida isn't as good. I mean, DJ Lagway, I don't think he hardly practiced the entire offseason because of his injury, and he still looks like he's in preseason mode. And he's not going to be ready for this game. I think Miami wins.
Would it have made any difference if he did?
Maybe.
I'm
I
being
mean, it would be a little more.
sarcastic
I
here.
think it'd be a closer game.
Stanford at Virginia. Here we go.
Yeah, Virginia. I think from the sounds of it, Ken Robinson stud linebacker supposed to be back for Virginia in this game, and possibly Antonio Cleary, who is yet to play a game this season. I think they could both be back for the Hoos, and I think that's going to be a big help for the defense. And I I think their offense is just better than Stanford's, which I didn't think I'd ever say, but it is true. So give me the Hoos to go 3-1.
Well, there you go. Okay. And as we both know, Scott Stadium is where teams go to die. I don't know what it is about that place. It's a fun place to go and party, though.
Hmm.
Cal at San Diego State. This is our last game of the night. So again, I'm falling madly in love with you, Cal.
Yeah, just take a quick peek at San Diego State. They lost 36-13 to Washington State in their last game. I think Cal is a lot better than we thought. And yeah, this game's at San Diego, but I don't care. Give me Cal on the road.
There we go. All right, it's all good. Hey, you got any thoughts about stuff that's going on? Since we're at this point, we're at the the beginning. Where things have gotten clearer.
Mhm.
The dust always settles about this time. We start to get a really good idea of who's who and what's what, and you know, any observations in general about some of these teams or players or the football, college football in general.
Um, I still think Miami's team to beat. I thought it would still be Clemson, but I I don't think they're there yet if they ever get there. The second best team is debatable. I would probably put Georgia Tech in there right now.
Hmm.
Um, I think there's a lot to. I think there's some stuff we don't know yet. Just because some of these teams have not played quality talent yet, I think there's still more to be figured out, I guess you could say. I don't know yet. Um, as far as some players that I really like, I think, yeah, the player we talked about with Mike Yam last week, Malachi Corley, the freshman receiver at Miami, is a player that's really opened up my eyes. I mean, he's not big, but he's quick and twitchy, and I love
Yeah.
those. I like those kind of players. Uh, he's somebody that's really stood out to me. The running back room at Virginia, and Jamari Taylor, he's a big bruising back. I like the just the depth there. They look really good. Who else looks really good? Just kind of off the top of my head. Obviously, Dylan Lonergan's way better than I thought. He has a good rapport with their receivers. Disappointed in Duke, obviously. I thought they'd be better. Obviously, Florida State. That's probably who the second best team is right now in the ACC is Florida State, actually, now that I talk it out. It'd probably be them. It'd be Miami, Florida State, Georgia Tech, top three right now.
Yeah, I agree with that. Um, it's not going to be too much longer, and we may do it this week. Um, I don't know whether we'll combine them or if we'll just do separate, but we'll do power poll, and because I think we're at that point now where we can honestly judge enough
Hmm.
as to who we think is at least the top five. Boy, after that, it starts getting a little sketchy. Um, I think the mid tiers and the bottom tier is just a mess. And but every year, we always talk about the upset the apple cart and it's topsy turvy, yada yada, same stuff. This year's no different. ACC football just is what it is. It's dynamic, it's ever changing. And you added three new teams in here who are throwing everything at us that we didn't expect. Then, of course, as we found out through all of the previews that we had over the summer, um, NIL money and transfer portal absolutely throw a monkey wrench into everything. So now we're still trying to figure out everything, and I know that you are too, as a viewer, a listener, and but that's the fun of college football, man. That's what it's all about. It's just absolutely delightful. Um, more stuff coming up next week. And wow. Hope you enjoy the coming week of football and much, much more. Make sure that you go to accnation.net. Check us out on all the social media outlets. TikTok, as Will has just pointed out, some new stuff coming up there on a regular basis. And, of course, YouTube and, subscribe to the podcast, etc. Thank you. We appreciate you being there and allowing us to come in and share our nonsense with you. Hope you have a good one. Until next week, cheers.
School.
ACC Nation, your source for ACC sports coverage with Will and Jim. Be sure to like, subscribe, and follow us on our podcast, streaming radio, and YouTube. Connect with us on Blue Sky, Reddit, Instagram, Threads, Mastodon, Facebook, X, and LinkedIn.